So let's just run through this. You guys have probably been talking about it. You've seen me talking about it because it seems like the Democrats have obviously, like we just talked about, they folded on the $2,000 stimulus, right? The squad is likely going to vote for Nancy Pelosi. They're likely not going to bring Medicare for all to a floor vote, even though there has been that gigantic push from the left. But it doesn't matter. It's all okay because Jimmy Dore yells a lot, right? Because Jimmy Dore is angry and he curses and he says fuck too much. So none of that matters. Let's just gloss over all of that. So I wanted to point this out and show you guys because people keep talking about, ooh, he's dividing the left. Oh, you guys are just angry and there's so much anger and cursing and all of these things. And they're bringing up the civility thing, which is interesting because these people didn't like it when the Hillary supporters or when the Biden supporters or the Kamala supporters were saying, ooh, a Bernie bro was mean to me online. That's awful. Now that a lot of these people are turning it around and completely using the same exact tactics, right? And so this person posted a screenshot, right, of Jimmy Dore that says, I don't care what the context is. If a man starts screaming at me like this, I'm fucking hanging up. There was also a video that somebody else took out of context, and I'm not going to play the video because it's out of context, that a lot of these people were retweeting, but basically they're focused on taking the town hall that happened last night out of context, clipping it up, and showing Dore screaming at the establishment or screaming about the establishment. There was one guy in particular, Ben, I forget his last name, but he was he was getting into an altercation with Jimmy Dore, and Jimmy Dore screams and he was cursing. He curses. The guy curses. I curse. Okay, so and some people don't like that. And it's just honest is what it is. But I needed to point this out because what we're seeing here isn't necessarily a divide. It's just an unraveling. You're seeing everybody who's really for the people, who has health care, those who have health care, who don't care about necessarily needing this money, who don't care about actually helping other people, who want jobs with the establishment, who want to make sure they at least leave an avenue for a possible career with mainstream media, who really, honestly, say they're for Medicare for all, but they're only for it because it's a progressive brand, who haven't lived through situations where they absolutely need health care, where, you can't go to the doctor, you can't get your eyes checked, you can't get your teeth checked, you can't, you have to go resort to these other instances, go to Mexico or literally just do nothing because you can't afford health care because it's so goddamn expensive in this country. Those people who don't know what that is, they're fine telling you to wait for the right moment. But everybody else that is really in it for the people who really sees the suffering and who really wants to help out or who has experienced it like Jimmy and Steph did, you really see it for what it is. And I mean, I've seen what it would cost to not have healthcare. And I mean, I don't have healthcare. So it's like, for me, it's like very personal to really throw this elitist spin on it, this gaslighting by people like Cenk Uygur, who of course takes all this money, right? And he said, and the force of vote turns on itself. It was inevitable. There's someone in the town hall who needs serious psychological counseling. Can you tell who? These folks are mostly well-intentioned. They have a fine strategy that is slightly mistimed. Mistimed, he says. But the circular firing squad is nuts. And of course, like I said, this is a video of the town hall last night, a clipped up 2-minute and 20-second video where Jimmy Dore is just ranting and he's angry. And it's taken out of context by so many of these blue check marks, not just Cenk. Ryan Grimm had a whole thing to say about it too, where he was just mocking. But Pasta, I want to hear your opinion on Cenk talking about the timing, right? It's not the time yet. When is it?
Yeah. It's always not the time, and obviously we understand that check that that Chen got and a $3 million salary a year, what it's going to pay for him to do. It's going to pay for him to what the Italians call stata zi, which means shut up and just go along with the establishment narrative. That's who your daddy is. That's who's paying for it. So he could just shove it up his ass. If there's ever been a time to push for Medicare for all, it's now in the middle of the pandemic. Let me tell you something about Jimmy, okay? Jimmy gets excited because people are dying. He got excited. He made a name for himself, getting excited in Iraq and Afghanistan as he saw these bullshit wars taking the lives of not only our children here in the United States that come back all messed up, depressed, and and what do you call when you're mentally ill and you PTSD, all right? Not just the PTSD, but the bombs were dropping on people over there. So him getting excited is very, very merited. Right now, Medicare for all is needed. Our lives, a lot of the Medicare for all, the people who have Medicare, period, it's tied to their jobs. Well, guess what? During the pandemic, they told you to stay home and you lost your job. So how many millions of people lost their job and how many people are going to die because they don't have it? So to all you neo-progressives and your blue check marks and your Chegs and your Jason Ideola, whatever your stupid name is, you can eat a bag of Richards. People are dying, and I'm glad Jimmy is speaking up. Somebody needs to get mad over here. Why the hell aren't we all mad? It's a pandemic, fam. They wouldn't even give me a COVID test because I didn't have insurance. Kiss my ass.
Exactly. And the people who, like I said, you have Ryan Grimm, you have Cenk Uygur, part of the elite progressive journals who really, really want to keep their jobs. I mean, The Intercept has lost all its credibility, especially with Glenn Greenwald not being able to do real journalism that is objective if he stayed there. So I just want to read what this person wrote because this person managed to do a whole thread. I mean, they managed to do a whole thread just with smears, and I thought this is what, like the fourth week, the fifth week, I don't know, I've lost track. This is at least like the fourth week, and people are still talking about how Jimmy Dore yells. I mean, I'm so sorry, but if you're more concerned about his yelling and his aggressiveness than people fucking dying, and about than about like all of this coming together, it's not just healthcare. Like, force the vote on healthcare, but look at what they're doing with the stimulus, right? It was Carcosa Lobbyist 7 said, during the Force the Vote town hall after party, Jimmy Dore passionately makes the case that progressive members of Congress who won't go on his YouTube show are the people standing between us and healthcare. And yeah, let me just clarify, Katie Halper had like a Zoom thing after the town hall, and that is where this happened with all these people in it. Not Pelosi, Schumer, or Biden, not McConnell or other GOP electeds, not pharma executives or the for-profit finance-owned hospital lobby. The reason people are suffering under our broken healthcare system is because the squad won't help Jimmy Dore grow his audience. Like, this obsessive need to protect the squad, too, like, by using Dore. A pattern that repeated throughout the night. Ben Spielberg, that's his name, says something innocuous and incontroversial. AOC and Pelosi are different. Dore flies into a rage, steamrolls its Katie Halper's lame attempts to moderate, and then reaffirms and justifies Dore's antics. During this particular freakout, Dore responds to Katie Halper's attempts to moderate by screaming over her, telling her to fuck off, then dismissing her words as claptrap, and she takes it all like an absolute doormat. Just a shocking lack of disrespect on here. This person literally cut everything out to make it look like that, but that's not exactly what happened. Jimmy Dore was yelling about to the gentleman, Ben. He was yelling at him because he was making excuses for AOC. And I'm frankly tired of people making excuses for AOC. AOC was supposed to be opposition to Nancy Pelosi. We shouldn't have to beg her to oppose her. She should be doing that on her own. He is asking her to do the minimal because it's not going to guarantee anything. It's at the very least what you could do, get it out there during a pandemic, cause this movement to rise like it's rising now. But he can't even do that because now people are looking up his house. Didn't that happen with Bernie Sanders when Bernie Sanders had 3 houses? Didn't the Democratic establishment, blue check elites, go after him and try to smear him that way? Didn't they write articles with very, very, disgustingly and racist, Jewish sort of anti-Jewish caricatures. Yeah, it was extremely anti-Semitic, and that happened. And how do you turn around and say that's not okay, then turn around and talk about houses in LA? You guys don't know shit about houses in LA. It's expensive to live there. A shack costs over $700,000. Like you can fix your home up. A lot of my friends bought homes way before they got super expensive. It's ridiculous. Why are we discussing curse words? Why are we discussing houses? Why are we discussing saying that this is sexist? I don't care if he's angry. You know what? Be angry. Now is the time to be fucking angry. Now is the time to let that anger drive you into action, because for too long we've been standing by the sidelines and have let this Democratic Party drag us through and have done absolutely nothing for us. At the very least, you should be angry. What we should be doing more is storming DC right now. We should all be there, demanding what we want. You look at what happens in other countries. Millions of people go to the streets. Millions and millions of people, when they want something, they do it. America can't even do this. And it's the bottom line for me. Who cares if he says fuck this and fuck that? Who cares? Yeah. Why is that such a big deal? Civility in a time of crisis, in a time when you're screwing people over. Americans are getting fucked over and over again, and you're worried about his curse words, and you're turning it around and saying this is that and that. I don't care. It's irrelevant to me, because civility right now in this time is the language of the oppressor. They're trying to tell you, shut up, pleb, and don't say anything that is offensive. And you have to get over that. 100%, we have to get over that. I'm sick and tired of talking about the same shit. Yeah. Like, I'm sick and tired of it.
The sensationalism that these people loving and praising AOC and the squad, we're asking them to do what they said they would do when they got there. AOC's video that went viral for her campaign was all about, the Democratic doesn't do anything unless they're forced to do it. So what we need to do is force them to put Medicare for all, on the table. We need to force them to put money into working people's pockets. We need to force them to talk about poverty and get people off the streets. What have you done? You've capitulated to the establishment every step of the way. And when a comedian who calls himself a jagoff working in his garage is forcing this and getting Twitter trending, you're going to sit there and say that you don't like his voice or his rhetoric? Take your virtuosity cloak off, your virtue signaling, and shove it up your you-know-what. We need results. We are dying out there. And when we do come out of this pandemic, what do we have to look forward to? How many people are going to be evicted off the streets? They have done nothing. Nothing. They need more than just yelling. And then we need to show up at their offices and in their houses. Enough is enough. Seriously, people are dying out there. People are dying. Where are the progressives?
It's awful to see. I mean, we're seeing it every day, especially living in LA. When we're there, we see it all the time. It does not stop. And people are doing what they can. But when you have the privilege of not caring about your health care, of not caring about money, then of course you're going to dismiss it. And that's what bothers them. There's an elitism and a aristocracy that developed within the progressive movement that is trying to replace the establishment. They have literally become that which what they were saying that they oppose so much. There is an elitism. Even right now, there's still an elitism. I mean, the independent media, there's an elitism, like between people who are blue check and people who are not. I mean, that very much exists. And the fact that this is so bothersome to so many people is beyond scary. And we have to keep going. Ignore those people. Be angry, use your anger to do something about it, because we're at that point, you guys, where electoralism isn't going to save us. You're not going to vote yourself out of this. There's no way there's enough time and people are going to last that long to vote themselves out of this. So just so you guys know, this isn't the divide in the left. This isn't just a difference in tactics. This is a difference in ideology that separates those who are willing to put themselves on the levers of power, who are willing to challenge the system, to buck it, to actually change it, and those who wish to remain and sort of kind of rebrand the system, and so they can be the gatekeepers. That's what's going on here. That's why there's that outrage. It's because it was a working class person that didn't have health care, that isn't the intellectual that they deem proper to lead this movement, and that's why they're angry. And that is the classism we're fighting too.
Yeah, I tell you this much, fam. If the House puts up Medicare for all for a vote on the floor and passes it, I won't curse for 6 months. I'll be nice. I won't go after. I'll give you 6 months. And if the Senate does it for a whole year, I'll be nice. And I bet you we can get Jimmy on that train. I bet you if they bring it up if Jimmy will agree to be nice for 6 months if they brought it up to a vote on the House floor. I bet you he would do that. Well, you know what I'm saying? I certainly would. Like, stop already with the language and the rhetoric and stuff. People are dying. Enough is enough. We've seen this with so many different avenues when it comes to our foreign policy, when it comes to Medicare for all, when it comes to housing, when it comes to jobs. I mean, we are just dying out there. And you see all these other countries that had the pandemic. They gave their workers all their money to stay at home. What did they give us? We got small businesses closing. Yeah. Everybody built everything they built for. It shouldn't have to happen. And those Congress members that you're getting mad at, that you're getting mad at us for yelling at, they didn't lose a dime. They didn't lose their health care. They didn't have to suffer. They're still putting money in the bank. They're making more money off their policies.
They deserve to be tarred and feathered, Pasta.
Yes.
And all we're doing is yelling. So that's what's going on.